When I first discovered the automatic table of contents generator in Word, I was delighted as I realised how much time it was going to save me when creating training documents and manuals. Take the document in front of you. You'll see that I've created a place for my table of contents on the first page of the document. There are different ways of creating your table of contents, but the simplest is to use the built-in heading styles that Word provides. You'll see if I click on the heading Introduction, it uses the heading 1 style, and the same if I click on the heading Description. There's a few more headings that I need to format with a style, so I'll click on Distribution and Habitat and format it with heading 1 style, and the same with Life Cycle. If you've not used styles before, they're built into the Styles Gallery. I didn't create them, they're there ready for you to use. That's not to say you can't create your own or modify the existing ones, but in order to save time, I often use the built-in ones just as they are. I've not quite finished applying my heading styles yet. I also need to click on the heading An Invasive Species in Australia, and again apply the heading 1 style. Now the next two headings, Spread and Impacts, are actually subheadings, so this time I'm going to apply the heading 2 style. So I'll click on Spread and select heading 2 from the Styles Gallery, and the same with Impacts. There you'll see that the text is slightly smaller than heading 1, but is still bold and coloured blue. OK, so now I'll go back to the top of my document and click at the point where I'd like to create the table of contents. Next, click the References tab on the ribbon. Then click Table of Contents in the group of the same name. Select Custom Table of Contents. In the dialog box you can modify the layout and format of the table of contents, but I tend to use the default settings. The only thing I need to decide on is how many levels I want in my table of contents. So under Levels I'll make sure I select 2, so that both my heading 1s and heading 2s are included in the table of contents. Click OK, and there you go. There's a table of contents. You'll see that if I hover my mouse over any of the entries in the table of contents, it's hyperlinked. So if I hold down the Control key and click on Spread, the insertion point moves to that part of the document. I've noticed there's one heading in my document that I forgot to apply a style to. So I'll click on Conservation Status in Europe and apply the heading 1 style, and just to finish off I'll add a new heading at the end of my document, Summary. Again I'll apply the heading 1 style. I'll add the paragraph text later. Now if I go back to the table of contents at the top of the document, I need to update it. So all I do is click in the table of contents, and then on the References tab of the ribbon click Update Table, and I'll select the Update Entire Table option and then click OK. You can see that those 2 extra headings have now been added to my table of contents. Remember, if you make any changes to the text in your document, that is move, delete, add or copy text, you may well need to update your table of contents. As well as clicking the Update Table button on the ribbon, you can also press F9 or click your right mouse button on the table of contents. If you should need to make any major changes to your table of contents, change the layout or format, you can always delete the text in the table of contents and then recreate it. So I hope you found that useful. Remember, all you need to do is apply the inbuilt headings from the Styles Gallery and then generate your table of contents from the References tab on the ribbon.